Good afternoon and welcome back to Marty's Tying Bench. This afternoon I'm tying patterns for the Rocky Mountain Flycasters Fly Swap Trout Unlimited meeting tonight. And I'm tying one of my favorite patterns. This is a soft Hackle Baetis tied with Partridge. And this is a good technique to show you kind of how to tie small soft hackles when the feather's too big to tie in and wrap. This is a size 18. It's a Dairiki 310. You can use the Tiemco 101. I'm using olive thread, tying an olive one today. And I want to save just a little clear space up there by the eye of the hook. And for tail material, I've got some Partridge dyed olive, and that's what I'm going to use all the way around on this one. I'm going to peel a few fibers away. You really only need a few on this one. They're going to kind of get melded in with the soft hackle itself. And I want to keep them kind of short. My thread is Uni-Thread 8/0. I like the fact that it's happy being a round thread. That really helps with the soft hackle part, and I'll show you that later. But I want touching turns coming back. There we go. Now for the body material, I've got a bunch of stripped peacock quills that I dyed olive. Just took these and cleaned them off with an eraser and stuck them in some olive dye. I've got them sitting in a jar of water over here to keep them a little bit soft. And what I'm going to do is, these things are thin at one end and thicker at the other. And the happy prime spot is going to be a little bit up, so I'm going to cut just a bit off. And I want to make sure my thread is as far back as I want it to go. Lay that in there, make one turn, but not very tight on the thread tension, because I'm going to lift this up until it's starting to curve. And then as I tie touching turns going forward, it'll take care of that stub, and it'll contribute to the taper. And it'll give me a little start on this one. I won't have to make such a severe turn to get it going. Now my stub was short, so I'll put a few more turns in there to help with the taper. Now this peacock quill can be a little bit tender, so I'm going to get a touch of super glue underneath before I turn. Wrap this forward, and if you got a nice dark leading edge on the quill, you can make touching turns with this. If you find your quill is too skinny, you can always just spread out the turns and let the thread show through between and get the same effect. Now, not very much thread tension. I don't want to cut that quill. I'm going to get a couple of turns forward. Now I can tighten up my thread and just kind of break that off. Now I'm back a little ways where I'm going to put a dubbing ball. The dubbing ball is going to help the soft hackle splay out. And I'm using Superfine, a dark olive. Not very much. That's that. It's about 1.5 fingers wide. And you want this ball to be hard. It doesn't need to be very big, but you want that dubbing on there very tight. Yeah, now that one's ready. I don't need much space. I don't want much space between that ball and the eye of the hook, because once I tie the soft hackle in, my thread is going to be going from front to back and pushing the hackle fibers up against the ball, and that will help it splay. Okay, now I've got a feather. What I'm going to do is peel fibers back away from the tip. You see the ones on the tip are just about the length that I want for the soft hackle. That means that the next couple of strands on the stem will be the right length. I want to cut that tip out until now it looks like this. Then I'm going to pull forward the number of fibers I want. This is going to be fairly dense with this number, and I like these a little bit sparser, so I'm going to just peel a couple fibers back. Now there's 3 less sparbules. And I'm going to stroke those together until they're pretty close, and set these against the hook until they're the length. I want it to go back maybe to the bend of the hook or a little shorter. Now I'm going to switch hands. I got my right index finger touching the eye of the hook. That's kind of how I steady it. I'm going to come in with my left hand and flatten it. Now, this is a hard one to see. I think you can see the eye of the hook there, but as my thread goes around, it's going to catch the first couple fibers, then the next couple, then the next couple, until they come all the way around. That soft hackle pops out. I don't deserve to have it come out that well. That's perfect. Now, holding that thread tension, I want to get this stem out of the way and get a couple of turns in front of it. You see that hook bending? Now, if you do it just right, you can kind of just tug on this and those things will break off because they're pinched in between threads. If that doesn't want to work, or if you find your hackle fibers slipping out under the thread wraps, well, use the scissors and get it as tight as you can. So now there's not much space here, so my whip finish going back against the turns will pinch it against that ball and give me a nice soft hackle. Through the thread, I'm ready to go. Top 5 favorite flies for me. I hope you enjoy it.